Hello again, and quickly to what the papers are saying, and I'll start with the Ghanaian Times newspaper, and it says World Bank predicts moderate growth of Ghana's economy, and 22 female students caught practicing occultism at Wegehe, Wesley Girls High School. And SC, Supreme Court to sit on Gitmo case, police allay fears about terrorist attack, TB Joshua's prophecy draws reaction. The Daily Graphic says, terrorist alert, become police clergy appeal to Ghanaians in the wake of TB Joshua's prophecy. The Daily Guide says, TB Joshua causes panic, police run helter-skelter. AG cites Mahama in $28,000 essay trip, and Ruby's mother fights Nakob over mansions. GJ launches 21st Awards, and that's the Finder newspaper. The Finder this morning says 353 Ghanaians deported in first quarter of 2016 and 508 perish in road accidents in 3 months. Ghana Gas wins Green Award. All right, so the BNFT this morning says city stability boosts mortgage market confidence. City stability boosts mortgage market confidence. And the Daily Express this morning says Ghana and Ethiopia resolve to fortify trade relations. Illuminator says Opambo raped me in his car. Republic says Menshia North NPP boils, and the Gazette says cocaine damsel in more hot waters. All right, so that's it for the morning. Okay, the National Forum says Green Street is the man, chants teeming youth, CPP attracts new votes. My guest for this morning, I'll start up from my far right, Madam Susan Edua-Mankwa, former assistant, also second vice chair CPP. Good morning to you. Thank you very much for joining us this morning. Also, Member of Parliament for Damongo, Mutawakil Adam. Good morning to you, sir. Thank you very much for joining us. And also, Member of Parliament for Tema East, and I have to take time and do this one, Daniel Ni Kwate, Titus Glover. Good morning to you.
Beautiful.
and welcome to the show.
Thank you.
All of you, yes, all of you, yes. I'll start from Madam Susan Edua-Mankwa. On yesterday, the police spoke, the clergy, and TV3 actually spoke to the secretary of the Christian Council of Ghana as well, and they are simply saying in response to the prophecy by Prophet TB Joshua that he sees attack, whatever form it is, foreign attack. He says that Thursday, Tuesday, what is going to happen, and obviously our security was alarmed, and the Christian Council said, look, we don't have to listen to that. I mean, necessarily that to be able to put things in place. We've got to be on top of issue, and that we should be on top of issue. Your response to that would be, is it unnerving?
No, I mean, I'm even surprised that somebody says TB Joshua causes panic and people are running helter-skelter. Nobody's doing that. I don't think there's so much panic, and the world is unsafe. Let's come to that. It's not TB Joshua that is coming to tell us that the world is unsafe or a terrorist attack. We're all vulnerable, the whole world. I mean, since people purported to have found weapons of mass destruction and went invading other countries, Iraq, the whole world has become unsafe. So the security forces, knowing that, ought to put in place certain measures to, as much as possible, nip some of these things in the bud, and the ones that they can't nip, make sure that there are procedures in place to ameliorate any, eventuality, something, that will happen. They ought to make us feel adequate. I don't think that anywhere in the world the security can say that they are so secure that nothing will happen. We've seen it happen in Paris, we've seen it happen in Brussels, etc., etc. So, everybody must be aware. We as a people also must become more security conscious, knowing that the type of world in which we live in now is not secure. So for me, TB Joshua or no TB Joshua, we should, this is something that we ought to be doing and you know, being more watchful, more attentive to things that in the past we would ignore, you know. I would have wished that, you know, we wouldn't have supposed men of God meddling in such things, and you know, you know, saying such things, especially when it sounds so vague. Okay. Because he says what it could happen in any of the two countries.
Yes, Nigeria.
On a
he
Thursday,
sees it on the two, yeah.
Thursday, Fridays. I mean, really, when his building was about to collapse, did he see it? I'm just wondering.
No, I posed the same question yesterday.
You just wonder sometimes some of these things. It's not that we question God himself, but sometimes we question some of these supposed men of God, and it makes us look, you know, like we're questioning God. Okay. Well, I guess God uses any vessel that he wants to use, so maybe it's also possible that he's using him as a vessel. But I would think that the security authorities, TB Joshua or no TB Joshua, knowing that this world is unsafe now, would put into place certain measures that will ensure our safety. And, you know, there's no harm if they decide to take it seriously, really.
Okay. All right. Speaking of, you know, seriousness, the police, you know, says that, you know, in view of the security measures, the police are seeking the cooperation of the public in the fight against the scourge of terrorism and the forms of violence, Service Arthur is quoted as saying, and he called the members of the public to be more vigilant and report any suspicious parcels or items abandoned places, you know, public, private, all of that. Mr. Mutawakil, for instance, a lot of people, I mean, she makes the point that, you know, he didn't see his building. And what about the modus operandi? Couldn't he have used a better medium to do that, even if you've seen something about a country, given what is at stake?
Thank you very much, and good morning to our cherished viewers, and more especially the good people of Damango constituency. I think TB Joseph has been in the news not today. He made set predictions, and he said he predicted, he will show the video where he predicted and when it happened. But terrorism in general has drawn closer to us than ever before, because the terrorist attack in Mali on Radisson Blue Hotel, not long, Burkina Faso suffered some, and then La Côte d'Ivoire. That tells you that we should get prepared. And I think as Ghanaians, with beef up security, for example, in most hotels, we used to enter freely. This time, it is not like that. Most of our public places have been beefed up. Sure. And I think US also gave a warning of a terrorist threat. So it's just an additional information that we should review our security and then evaluate it and put in extra measures, because already we beef up security in the country. But for it to be effective, as the police indicated, it needs cooperation from the general public. The usual don't care type of people who pass by you or who put things closer to you should be a thing of the past. And when he mentioned Thursday, Friday, Saturday, the moment I read the Friday, the first thing that clicked me was, Friday we have our Friday prayers where people gather to pray. What measures should be put in place? Because terrorists don't discriminate. They don't discriminate. And you could see that in most cases, the mosques are their target, where they converge and then they explode. So we need to just beef up the security. And as Ghanaians, we must be very vigilant this time around. We have to, because things have changed. And we must change to be more vigilant, be willing to report any suspicious movement or luggage that you find at the airport or anywhere you, like the shopping mall. Okay. Any suspicious package being left, draw attention. And I also urge the police to extensively educate Ghanaians on the short codes that they have. Because most of Ghanaians might see such a thing, but how do I get to the police or the security agencies? I think that they should have some 30 minutes program on TV to educate Ghanaians and frequently bring out the various codes, that short codes that Ghanaians or any other person within the country could get to the security agency for quick action.
Mr. Titus Glover, for instance, if the police are doing anything, one of the means now these days is not the physical presence of a security man that tells you that the place is secure. There are ones that you don't. Intelligence gathering, you can't see it, but you know that there's something happening, right? Just share with me where your mind is at the moment. First of all, when you heard the news that, the man has made a prophecy like that, and naturally, everybody's mind went to terrorism, where your mind was, and then
Thank you very much, Bridget, and good morning to all your viewers. Let me take this opportunity to thank your media house for participating in the Tema Pleasure Festival. The reporters were there, and on behalf of my chief and people, I want to say a big thank you to TV3 for showing up in that great festival. Terror alert. And you want to ask me, how did I feel? Immediately, this prophecy from TB Joshua came to mind. I got scared because I'm not sure all of us sitting here want to die immediately. So when such prophecies are coming, you may agree or disagree with him. But as to whether there is truth in whatever he's saying is another matter. The question I want to ask myself now, who caused them? If there should be, Ghana is a very peaceful country. Christians and Muslims have lived together. We have married, and we still do. We intermarry. We do everything virtually the same. We don't have any problem. But this alert has become necessitated because of the two gitmos that were brought into this country. Honestly. Because so long as you flouted the anti-terrorism law, the fact that Parliament was not even aware, everything was shrouded in secrecy. And my colleague is saying that America has even alerted us to be careful with terrorists. For me, I'm going to trace it straight to the Gitbo people who are here. And the only solution to solve this problem is to take them back to where they came from, so we'll have our peace. Notwithstanding that, we need to commend our security agencies for all that they have been doing in this country. And of course, our security agencies cannot work, they cannot be effective if they don't have any information in their hands. That is why community should be alert, because they come like NGOs. They have so many ways of operating, which you may not know. Do you understand? So what we need to do is to beef up our intelligence, information flow, should enable the security agencies to know exactly what they can do and nip some of these things in the bud. So I think that, yes, it has come. We may disagree with this man of God, but what we need to do as a country is to let our security agencies to be on top of their game. They should be everywhere. And your question is not physically holding guns, advantage places, but I know that some countries are very good. For example, the Israelis. Their security network is so good because wherever they are, in the midst of all these opponents, they are very smart in gathering intelligence to make sure anybody who wants to attack them are able to put under control and check. So I think that yes, people should be very careful where they go and have fun. People should be very careful where they go and have their, what they call their prayers. Even in their various, but people should be able, we should be able to do proper security checks. I heard that in Kenya, now when you are coming to the airport, at a distance away, you need to be stopped and checked thoroughly before you are allowed to go into the airport. These are ways of trying to control, because Kenya is a very high terrorist, what they call it, target. You know, looking at the history of what is happening. We are yet to experience one, but I believe that let us all cooperate among ourselves, cooperate with the security agencies, share with them information, and at the end of the day, some of these panicking and some of these things, we'll be able to bring under control.
Okay.
But I believe
the
executive should send the Gitmo people away.
All right. Is this one? No, I'm sorry. No, I'm sorry. You will have a moment. I mean, is this a time to play even blame game? And then also, it's a fact that the countries that have been attacked don't even host Gitmos, have never hosted Gitmo detainees.
Well, you've said that. Let me tell you what is a threat in this country. This first quarter, over 500 people have died from road traffic accidents. Tell me.
503.
503.
Yes.
From road traffic accidents. Tell me, how many people have died from terrorist attacks? Tell me.
It's lesser than even those who have died from gun violence in the United States.
Thank you very much. We have a clear and present danger, which we live with, which we think it is okay. And yet we are worried about something that, touch wood, would never happen. Or could never happen. You get me? Meanwhile, we allow our people to die on the roads, day in, day out. In 3 months, over 500 people, 71 people died in a spot.
Kintampo. Yeah.
In Kintampo. And we thought that was okay. Really? We have herdsmen who are raiding our farms, killing our people. They are killing them. They are extra every day. And we think that terrorist attack is the biggest thing that is happening to us. Go to Agogo today. Aren't they going to have a demonstration?
Terrorist demonstrations.
That right there is insecurity. There are so many issues that we ought to be looking at than making a meal out of something that may never happen. It is good that we beef up our securities. Do you know the security threat? And I say it every day. It's right in front of Flagstaff House, that kilometer car park we do. In front of the Flagstaff House. We are parked there in traffic and it is not moving. You think that you need a mosque or a church to go to, you just park one car there and blow it up and blow all those cars in that kilometer car park. I mean, our traffic lights are not working in moving. If you get a policeman who is not sure about what he's doing, he creates even more traffic. Those are people gathering right there. And that is a threat. I mean, we don't need to have Gitmo 2 here to have threats, to lose lives. I think that we ought to be more serious in this country. Yes, take it seriously, work on it. But we have things that are killing Ghanaians day in, day out.
Okay, all right.
And we need to look at those things. I think that, you know, we should prioritize, do the right things. You know, in the past, people could leave their babies with you and say, oh, I'm going to the washroom. Could you hold my baby for me? We have moved past there. But even still, people still leave parcels with other people. Could you watch my bag for me? I'm just making, you know, we still do those things. Those are the things that we need to be more conscious about and start teaching our children. We ought to start punishing people who leave their cars on the road and kill other people. Punish them severely. They are the Gitmo too. The big trucks who leave their cars on the road without any warning and allow people to crash into them in the dead of the night. Those are the Gitmo 2 people that are killing people. The drivers who stop off, who you know, at any time without indicating, join a road, they are the ones killing people. And we ought to punish people severely for that. I think that we have many threats here that we are ignoring and making a meal out of something else. We ought to look at the ones that are killing us on a daily basis.
All right.
Yeah, thank you.
Sorry,
That's a quick
and now
one.
it's your turn.
On
The
Gitmo 2, I thought examples would have been said like Ivory Coast or La Côte d'Ivoire accepted Gitmo 2, and as a result, that was where they have a terrorist attack. He would have set an example of Burkina Faso that has accepted Gitmo 2, and then related to Ghana. The Gitmo 2 is independent of a terrorist attack. He should give me the relationship. 2, if we talk about this, because this is a foreign attack, and as we expect that foreigners will come in and plan it, that is why we are wild. Within, we have internal terrorism that is going on. Kulungungu bombing in the 60s. That was a terrorist attack. So in Ghana, within internal terrorism, we've experienced it. So relating it to Gitmo 2, we have terrorism within. That was targeting a president, and that has made somebody leg to be amputated. That is a clear terrorist attack. Since the 60s, So I don't think that accepting Gitmo 2 attracts terrorists to the country. They are being monitored 24, and I think that looking at it, accepting it, that is a goodwill gesture. That is where they want to live. And as a nation, and this is not just last week, for example, Senegal accepted 2, and it was in the news. And it is all over. If we accepted the 2 and we are sure we can monitor them, the whole thing about getting rid of terrorism is vigilance. Okay. As Ghanaians, our way of life must change. Right. We must not be said that, as my sister indicated, somebody comes, oh, let me leave my bag. Oh, put it there. And he walks away. Even you don't know the identity of the person. So we have to change our lifestyle. Okay, all right.
Mr. Yes. For instance, I know that the Supreme Court is supposed to sit on a case that has been brought before it for it to determine whether indeed the president flouted, as you mentioned, the Anti-Terrorism Act and breached any. And that will happen today. So until they make a determination on that.
The story that we are discussing is terror attack.
Alert. No, he said he's seen something. I am saying that when he makes the alert,
is that Ghana will be attacked.
He says he's seen 2 attacks on Ghana and Nigeria. I'll give you a moment, yes. 2 attacks on Ghana and Nigeria, and it's a foreign attack. And I'm saying that naturally people's minds went to terrorism. And if you read everything, it has to do with that, yes.
And immediately that comes to mind. You know that these are not people from here. And sometimes they may have collaborators from local people to assist them in doing that and that kind of thing. I agree with Susan that we have issues locally that are killing our people, and for that matter, it's more or less of an insecurity in our country, with the example that she gave us. Then also about jobs. I mean, where youth don't have jobs to do, it's a national security matter. Seriously, that is a national security matter. But that is distinct from these discussions that we're having here. That's why I focused on that example, you know. So for me, I still want to stand by that. Whatever happened for Cote d'Ivoire, Mali, and Burkina Faso to be attacked by this time, at the end of the day, the attackers own up. They tell us that we are from here. And they don't just get up and attack. They plan. It will take them months, it will take them weeks, it will take them years. But at the end of the day, when they come on the onslaught, you see people dying. Every death is death. It doesn't matter the magnitude or the numbers. Even one person who died is death. So at the end of the day, with this information that has come to us, all we need to do is to assist, because I don't have expertise in what do you call it, fighting terrorists. If I know of any information, all I need to do is maybe call a police officer, walk into a police station, and share with this intelligence of this is what I have. That will help us to control some of these attacks. So I think that, yes, it's an eye-opener for all of us. And I'm sure the state security are not sleeping. Okay. They are also up and doing. Let us assist them. Let's support them with our information and let it go. Okay.
There's another story on page 17 of the Daily Graphic here. It says, EC on track for 2016 elections, and then we'll tie that in with another story that says respect security institutions for peaceful elections, political parties advised. So let me just read that one. It says here that, you know, the Electoral Commission is on track to conduct a free, fair and credible election in 2016. An independent, presidential candidate in 2012, Mr. Jacob Osei-Abua has observed, and therefore enjoined all stakeholders, especially political parties, to assist the EC to perform its constitutionally mandated duties. We'll go into the various blocks, but let me pick Madam Susan. Okay, let me start from you, Mr. Since it's the second round, I'll start from you on EC on track for election 2016. I mean, this is somebody who took part, is an independent candidate. He took part in the 2012 elections, and from experience and from what he's observed, believes that we're on the right track.
I think that all that we all want is to make sure that this election is very fair, is very transparent, well organized, orderly, have a credible register, so that at the end of the day, who emerges as the winner will applaud the person and allow him to do his job. But where you are seeing signs, questionable signs, compelling people to raise certain eyebrows, I think it calls for concerted efforts to address all those challenges. You know, he has expressed his opinion. Other people are also expressing their opinion, like my own party. In terms of the register in itself, you know, the way it has been bloated, with minors, with dead people, with foreigners. How do you address all those challenges? And I think it's fair. Do you understand? And the respect for security agencies. In the past, security agencies that have come, they come to monitor. You hear instances of sometimes places where people are being intimidated from going out to vote and all that. And all that. I think that if they only come to observe to make sure nobody comes to misbehave, they are welcome. But where they will be posing intimidation, trying to molest people, not coming out in their numbers to come and cast their ballot, it is something.
Is that what the security agencies do? No,
what I'm saying is I'm only sharing with you. In 1990, in Ashanti region, was it before 2096? A whole Mowak with soldiers was sent to town, intimidating people from coming out to cast their ballot. You understand? So there has been an example. So where these, because all these policies government is coming out with, that is so inimical to our people, the security agencies, they have been affected because they have wives and children. So if they want to protect the executive, it is something, it is also a threat to security, where you want to suppress the people from coming out to cast their ballot of their choice. It's a problem that we need to deal with. So I think that, yes, we want a credible register. We want a free and transparent elections in our country. Ghana is a citadel of democracy. We have set examples. Therefore, things that we think that would not be in the interest of us, let us all sit down and address the problem once and for all and move on.
Okay.
But where you want to protect the executive, the sitting president, or his people at the expense of the opposition, naturally, you don't expect us to sit down and watch and clap.
Okay, I don't know if that's just a quick one. Mr. Here's your turn, but let me just say this. Says, in the view of Mr. Yobua, the demonstration was pretty much, I'm sure he's referring to the Bamiyada demonstration in the Ashanti region, was premature. He, however, described the demonstration as a security pointer for the EC to see what would be in store if they fail to have the confidence of the people in the electoral process. I think he makes a very important point here. While saying that, it's premature to go and demonstrate, he still says that if people don't have confidence.
In the first place, nobody should claim that because somebody has demonstrated, the whole of Ghana don't have confidence in the EC. Okay. I think majority of Ghanaians has confidence in the EC. That one, no doubt. EC is not to toe to the wish and caprices of any political party. And that is why they have IPAC, so that they have consensus agreement. And so far, the roadmap, I see it to be put, and I believe that come November 7th, we'll have a very peaceful, transparent elections. Okay. Because over the year, nobody has been able to push the EC to do what it wished. We wished it to be this, therefore do it when you haven't taken due diligence into the general interest. For example, demonstrating for what? Validation. Meanwhile, the recommendations never indicated validation. And validation has so many ways. Voter exhibition is a way of validation. And the most important thing is to educate your brand executives and those who represent the party to be able to give information when the voter register is out there for exhibition. Very critical. And my constituency will do that. One by one, identify, challenge where there is a need, fill the form and challenge the person. There are due processes that we can address. And you see, voter register is not an easy thing. Even on the day of elections, people die. So you can't have it 100% certain. And the MPP should have gained experience of challenges in registers. With the recent election they had, only 1,118. And they have to make 2 registers. And that resulted into 13 of the executive resigning. They compile a register 1,118. And even those who are going to contest, Ablekuma West, those who were going to contest, their names were not found in the register. They should know that it is not easy. And they should understand and know that we need to cooperate with EC and take active part in whatever it is doing to ensure that we have a clear register and not to start pointing fingers. It is protecting the executive. Where? Election is won by vigilance at every branch. You don't sit at your headquarters or go on TV or radio and talk and expect that that speech should go to the police station to monitor what is going on. No, I believe that it is a stakeholders. We must come together to ensure that at every stage we take active part and ensure that we have a very reliable and clean register for 2016. Come to the elections, the security have been doing their best. But we must bear in mind that in the 90s, that was the beginning of the fourth Republican Constitution. You will never have everything rosy. One, technology wasn't that much, like WhatsApp to give information as well. And as we get to 2016, it's a completely different game. We're not using biometric. We're using blank ID card without pictures on it. So, but we have transformed. And over the last 8 years, I've not seen where security used brutalization or scare people from coming out to vote. It takes just a second for the whole world to know what is happening at a particular spot. So everybody is vigilant, and I'm happy that they are being trained in that. Not only the security, even the courts, the judges, yesterday they are listening. They are being trained on how to handle election-related issues. And that is very good for us. And we must believe in the institutions. If you don't believe in the institutions and you want to come to power, then which institution are you going to operate with? Which institutions? I don't believe the police. I don't believe the judiciary. I don't believe the security agencies. And as a result, I won't deal with them. When the unfortunate event that you come to power, which institutions are you going to run? Are you going to come and set parallel institutions? Please, it is time as Ghanaians. We must know that the security agencies are part of us, and it is our responsibility to help them delegate their duties, to execute their duties in a manner that will satisfy all Ghanaians. I believe that come November 7th, we'll have a very peaceful election. And transparent, of course. Okay.
2 quick points here by the Daily Graphic that I just want to share with the public before Madam Susan Iduamanka makes her. He says, this is from the head pastor of the Victorious Light Chapel International, and I'm quoting him. So I'm quoting him. He said, "We should not condemn our security system because that's what we have. We cannot bring in foreign security personnel to protect us. So the earlier we respect them, the better for us all." He says, "There may be weaknesses and lapses in the system, but that should not call for condemnation. We should rather support them to do the right thing."
I agree, totally. I agree with him. This is what we have. We can only give constructive criticisms to make it better. Nobody can protect us as much as we can ourselves as security agents and ourselves. First and foremost, we have responsibilities to ourselves to ensure that whatever we do does not endanger ourselves or others. And then, of course, we encourage the security forces then to also do the things that are totally not in our control. But, the EC being on track, I would hope that the EC would be on track. Okay. The EC must behave like Caesar's wife, not just the sin itself, but the appearance of the sin. So the EC ought to position themselves in such a way that it doesn't matter what. Black will be black and white is white. And everybody then feels comfortable with them. Even those who are skeptical about their, impartiality will still, look at them and say, and try and be fair. So for me, I would hope that they would do the things that would ensure that come 7th November, we would have free, transparent and fair elections. Obviously, their actions before are important. Their actions during the elections are important, But like I said, all of us, they have to realize that we are all looking in. We are all stakeholders. But you see, the thing is that it is good for the EC to do that. The political parties also ought to advise themselves in some of the things that they do. A lot of the troubles that are caused are not random things. They come from some organization. In a country where we are fast becoming more loyal to our political parties than to the nation itself, it's a cause for worry. And it's the political parties that organize their members to create mayhem. So as political parties, we need to be, you know, if people are going to be busing people to go and register at a particular place, it's not just ordinary citizens who get up and say, oh, let's bus ourselves and go and, you know, register in a particular constituency. It's an organization that is being done by political parties. No, if somebody is going to do something wrong, you know, they don't, it comes from the political parties. So as we are looking at the EC, we also ought to be looking at our own actions and inactions and make sure that we do the things that are right. Let's not bust people across constituencies. Let's not do the things that, you know, create tension and, you know, and it includes not overly also, you know, criticizing every move of the EC. You get, because if every little thing they do, yes, we are looking in, we are concerned, we want everything, but if we question and second guess everything they do, it creates tension.
Okay, I just want to.
It's not good for our collective health if, you know, at every little thing we're second guessing them.
Okay, I just want to pick on the point you make about being loyal to a party than the state. What do you think has accounted for that?
I don't know. I don't know whether it has been the several years of, you know, not moving forward the way we would have wished, and an erosion of our self-esteem. You get it. Look. I always say, if Nkrumah gave us nothing at all, he gave us a certain audaciousness to believe in our own African personality, that we could walk around and be proud to be African and be proud to be Ghanaian. Everybody wanted to be Ghanaian at that time.
And
you get it.
Had a Ghanaian passport.
Thank you.
Such a big deal.
People wanted to be Ghanaian. All Africans wanted to be Ghanaian. Over the years, we have eroded our self-esteem. We think that other people should come and help us to build our nation. We think that we can go cup in hand, and that kind of beggar mentality has also created some poverty of the mind, and because of that, we clutch onto things that are ephemeral, you know, and not the values of nationhood, of being Ghanaian. And what is it now to be Ghanaian? I mean, most people now are identifying themselves by their political parties, by their ethnic groups, than saying that they are Ghanaians. You know, and that is not good for us. We ought to stop and say, no, this nation belongs to all of us. Yes, NDC, we are not happy because times are hard. Really, times are hard, and we will criticize, and we would hope that they would do better so that times are better, so that the better Ghana they promised, we can all feel it. But then we expect that they listen and take what it is, and also not come and tell us that no, the honey is good, the honey whatever. We would also expect that we would commend them if things are good and things are going well. But we need to strike that balance and realize that it's the Ghana is for all of us.
Okay, I'll continue.
He spoke about why we serve political parties.
Yes, there seems to be a certain loyalty to
I looked at some. First of all, the Constitution sometimes created that impression. The issue of winner takes all is one element that has created that perception that once this political party comes to power, it is its people that will be appointed. And that's also created the impression that when the president appoints somebody from another political party, that opposition party sees that person to be something like a mole.
A traitor.
Yeah, a traitor. And it has gone deep into our political system. And that is one thing. You go to somebody, oh, I want you to occupy this position. Oh, I'm an MPP, I'm a CPP, I'm PNC. If I accept him, my party will look at me differently. Okay. The person doesn't put the country first, but sees the political party. And we have managed to put it into the mind of our supporters that until your political party comes to power, you will not enjoy it. So even if you are enjoying, mentally, you don't seem to be enjoying. You don't seem to be taking the good part of the governance that is going on until your government comes. And if the government is doing anything, your motive is to sabotage it, make sure that you bring it down so your opponent can. This is one problem that we have as a nation, and that is the canker. If we don't cure it, will not benefit the country as a whole.
But
first, the Constitution, winner takes all, has created that impression.
Okay, all right. Mr. The same for you about, you know, how, you know, we have civic responsibilities. For instance, if you have a problem, you know somebody who is dead, or you know minors who are on the register, you also have a responsibility as a Ghanaian. I mean, I don't mean you in particular, but like as in, we have a responsibility to also go and have those names removed, because like Madam makes a point that it didn't get on it. I mean, no, it's not a ghost. Somebody bust somebody who is underage to get on that register.
Of course, if somebody is dead, is dead. And attention must be drawn to ensure that the name of that dead person is taken out of the register.
Sure.
And as a member of parliament, and even my own family,
Okay.
if I lose a member of my family, I should be bold enough to tell the electoral officer at my police station, look, these, that are all gone. For that matter, they should find a way out of the register. It's possible. But what are the legal process in doing that? Is it that when you just mention their name, they take their name out? There are legal processes that you have to go through to make sure they expunge their names on the register. But sometimes when the EC is doing something, and from my party's side, we'll try to criticize, and you don't see the response coming from the EC to defend itself. But you hear my colleagues in the NDC who have turned themselves into spokesperson of the EC like he's doing now. It makes me a bit ludicrous, you know. Let me give you some flashback.
Sure.
In October 15th, 2008, when Dr. Komede was their chairman then, they had a press conference, and this is what they said. Publish voters' register with photos. And with your permission, let me read this portion. Sure. He said, and I quote, the vote of security officers, oh my God, excuse me.
What's up? Technology can fail sometimes.
You see, sometimes.
But remember to keep sending us your comments on the review as it's currently ongoing. Take your time whilst I try and use the hashtag TV3 NewDay. Yes, now you can go
The vote of security officers who would vote before December 7th, 2008 should also be counted on the same day to forestall rigging. Dr. Komede, chairman of the National Democratic Congress and spokesperson for the opposition parties, told a press conference in Accra on Wednesday. Okay. He went further to say that he accused the EC of collusion and complicity in the strategy, saying the document betrays the causal relations between some senior officials of the EC and the MPP and speaks volumes about the attitude and impunity of the EC, confirming our suspicion that the MPP is manipulating the electoral process and supports our growing lack of confidence in the electoral commission.
Okay.
And this is purely ostrich behavior. At one leg, some years back, this is how you have been able to attack the electoral commission, describing them with all these adjectives and all that. All that we are saying is nothing bad. There's a problem with the register. People have talked, priests, imams, anybody who thinks that there's a problem with the register has expressed opinion. You're also entitled to express opinion about it. So if we are coming up with these information and you see it wrong, and you see that the other side, and just throw it on the MPP that we are being violent, we don't want to cooperate. We have never said that we can't cooperate with the electoral commission. They are the referees. After all, constitutionally, they're independent. There is nothing that they can decide to do or not to do it. Like they said, they're not going to do new register. But what are we doing to ensure that this register that we're going to use on November 7th is credible? And the basis and the piece of this election is in the register.
Okay.
So that is an issue that we must all find a way to deal with the subject. You understand?
Okay. Based on what you read, I'm sorry, I have to ask him a few questions here. Based on what you read, that Dr. Komede, former chairman of the National Democratic Congress, accusing the NPP of being in bed of some sort with the EC is the same thing you're doing today. And at the time, you were not in bed with the EC, correct?
Not at all. Not
at all. So why is it different now?
You see, when you look at the position, sometimes when you speak, and the way they have spokespersons, don't they? Why are they not coming to defend themselves? Why is the EC not coming to speak that we've not done this, we are doing that? And you have the NDC who come to defend the electoral commission. It creates a suspicion.
Okay, all right.
No,
Madam Susan,
it creates a suspicion.
Okay, Madam Susan,
Why?
I want to ask.
Spokespersons.
Okay, all right. The electoral commission is not like the political parties, and they are. I mean, to even get an interview with the electoral commission, it will take you months, to be honest. But then the political parties have a certain platform where every day, I mean, depending on what the other party says, they come in George or, you know, votes for votes and the like. And so if the EC is quiet on things, doesn't necessarily mean that they have something to hide there.
Not necessarily, but we would hope that the EC would also speak a lot more. And, you know, when you give information, it puts people at ease, you know. It's very typical of public institutions. They are not wont to come out quickly to say things, you know. And so, but given the times in which we live, you know, I would think that they should come out a lot more and then calm people down and say, oh, this is where we are or this is what we are doing periodically, so that they may not do that over the 4 years, but maybe in the election year, then, you know, they would change to suit the environment, and because that is what makes an institution dynamic, that the circumstances change, the environment change, and then you change and you adapt to meet it. So even though, you know, as a public institution, we don't do a lot of that, we would say that in election year, maybe bi-weekly or bi-monthly or once a month or whatever, we would come out to say where we are in the process so that people would know it. And I think we would all appreciate it. They should preempt some of these things and come out. Something new they're doing, they should just come out and explain it to people so that we don't second guess them. You know, I hope that will happen. Yes, maybe, you know, political parties like to grandstand. You understand? So one party says the other, then the other one too comes to say, and it doesn't help. Okay. It does not help at all. We would hope that the NDC would not come out too much to defend the EC, neither will the MPP. The criticism okay, is way too much also.
A moment, please. I actually have a question. You know, when I put the question to him about being in bed, he was reading excerpts of what your chairman, former chairman, had said about the Electoral Commission. The very thing that the NPP is saying about the Electoral Commission today. And that is quite unfortunate because both parties, you do the same thing over and over again. Please, once the tables turn, you sing a different tune. And that's what is hurting our democracy.
2008, I think you're just asking one of the you've answered one, listen, were you in bed with them at that time when we were criticizing? But we take clue from 2004, the first in this fourth Republican Republic. Election results were declared at the Castle before even EC came out to announce it. What, if you are in the opposition, what will you do? You should tell me which party or a party or government announces results at the Castle even before the EC comes out with the final results.
You went to court?
No, I'm saying that when a government or a party decides to do that, the next election, you must be vigilant. And that is what we are saying. And at the end of the day, we're not after this, we're vigilant at the police stations.
And I'll bring you back to my question about being in bed with it. Because, you see, for a lot of people, for instance, please, the CJA, for instance, right, at the time, was like was advocating. You would think they were advocating for, you know, for the ordinary person. I remember, I think Felix Fosu Kwachi or Kwachi Fosu was in there. Now you have, you know, groups like AFAG, Let My Vote Count, who are also seen as pro NPP, right? Yes. Pro opposition parties, right? And the issues they are arguing about and augmenting are issues that's supposed to bother everything and everything. But then if a government wins, then it changes. And it's the same that you did. So how do you, what moral rights do you have to also say that they shouldn't take that position when you have done it many
Alliance and accountable something, AFAC and Let My Vote Counter. They have the right to do that. But you don't go to do something at IPAC, your party agrees. Because you have If the political party, NPP, had disagreed with the processes of EC at IPAC and didn't get their way through, and then come out and say, this is our position. But you don't agree at IPAC that what EC is doing is the right thing and they should go ahead. At the same time, your affiliates comes out and say, we won't agree. The party says, which one are we talking about? That is where we have difficulties. They should have disagreed at IPAC. And that will be the party stand. So it's Let My Vote Count Alliance or AFAC, that is the stand of the party, or what they have agreed at IPAC. That is the question.
Bridget, I think that
so you have to, because, no.
My question,
He's running away.
No, the point is that I said that the 2008, this our criticism came up based on what happened in 2004. So we have a precedence that they have set. When the late Jacob Obachabilante, may his soul rest in peace, came out and announced the results of the election, declared it before the next day. So when such things happen, this is serious, and so the next election we have to be on our toes. And at the end of the day, we won by being vigilant at the police station.
Okay.
Quick one. What Jake you've spoken? Yeah. What Jake did
note your thoughts now.
Was not to declare elections. We tabulated our results. They also did same. Everybody did same, and we're just showing this to Ghanaians that this is what we have. We have never declared results. Officially,
announcing it is dangerous.
It's dangerous.
Officially, it was the Electoral Commission that announced it. But you see, Mutawakilo, let us call a spade and not a big spoon. I beg you. We have a problem and we need to admit there's a problem with our register. How do you make this election credible for all of us to applaud who the winner is going to be? And I go for to win these elections. Trust me. You can be dancing and tickling yourself and think that because you have the executive power, you have money that you want to share all over the place. But go to the grassroots and let people know what is happening. Do you understand? You go there and see what is going to happen. So I think that we will never vilify the Electoral Commission. We will not. But if there are things that they are doing, which is inimical, which is not to a forward march of this country, we have every right to question it. You should give me one example where at IPAC meeting we have a disagreement with the Electoral Commission, they will go to the street and start making noise. You should give me one example. No. At the IPAC meeting, party representative, I'm sure led by Mr. McMahon, our campaign manager, they will make it clean there. They are not afraid of the Electoral Commission. They will point it to them. Look, what you are talking about all these things, it is not good for us. They will say it. Okay.
I want to give you two quick examples. During the NDT primaries, Ningo Pram, I remember candidate-elect, aspiring candidate Sam George was furious about some names that had been deleted from the register. He boycotted it, and the election had to be moved to the next day. Just recently, Ablekuma West, your party members also accused your party of, tampering with the register, that you had two different registers, leading to some members resigning. They came to TV3 studios here that they had resigned. So if both parties, you are experiencing problems with your register, as small as it is, how foreign then is the Electoral Commission experiencing problems? When you still want your members to believe that you have nothing against it, it's just a problem of systemic error.
If 13 executives can resign, it's better than taking clubs and machetes to fight. There has been a long history of this Ablekuma West problem, which has landed in court. And the party appeared in court to make sure they go through the due process of the party, because if the party have problems, what you need to do is to resort to the grievance procedure within the party constitution to resolve it. Therefore, they brought the matter out of court to resolve. And the resolution was that they should go to the elections. And this resolution was affirmed by the National Executive Committee. The dispute is about these two registers. I heard my colleague Esla saying that her name is not in the register. And for that matter, she could not be able to cast the ballot, blah, 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 blah. But they invited the party to sit down. So if, with our example, we've been able to sit down and say, look, these are the registers that are creating a problem. Yours is a problem, mine is a problem. So let's merge them together into one register to go and cast the ballot. What is the problem about it? It is different from people who have died in a register. It is different from people who are foreigners, like Togolese, Burkinabes, and Ivorians. It is different from minors. These are two distinct registers. So we cannot compare the two. No.
I'm not even justifying.
No. What you said was that if we are having problem with our register, can I land? Please. You are telling me that if we have problem with our register, why do you try to ask questions or try to worry the Electoral Commission of the National Register? But they are distinct. You have minors, you have foreigners, you have diseased people in the National Register. That is different from political party register. So if the National Executive Committee have met, they say, look, if these are your concerns, let's use them as one and go and cast. And the winner has been merged.
No, I'm sorry, not Madam, is it really that distinct?
No, it's not. It's not really distinct.
Okay.
I think that both parties, you know, when they stop their grandstanding, will realize that, yes, compiling an electoral register, we know it's not an easy thing. Look, compiling data is not easy anywhere, okay? I mean, if you go and ask the statistical service when they're doing the census, it's an issue. Let's come back to the thing. What do we need? We need a national ID. I think that we need to go back to basis. National ID. We have seen the kind of tensions that, you know, this Electoral Commission, going forward, what are the things that we do so that come 2020, we don't have this issue again? I think that we need to start thinking that way. Another thing, right to information bill. Let's get that so that we don't listen to what the political parties are saying and all their grandstanding. You understand? Let us be able to walk to the EC as a citizen and say, I want this kind of information. I have the right to this information, and give it to me and let me satisfy myself. So that when the political parties are doing their tension-raising things and doing their grandstanding, etc., you know the facts on the ground. I think there are certain fundamental things that we ought to get right in this country. Because we know politicians do theatrics, they all sorts of things to win sympathy, to let people empathize with them, and they will do it. And that will be for people who are vulnerable to them and are not discerning enough. But there are a lot of Ghanaians who are discerning, who will see through, who should be able to have the information. The EC should come out periodically when they are doing things to give us that kind of information and to put our minds at rest. We should also be able to walk there for that kind of information and be given to us. Let us get the things right. And coming 2020, let us do the things that will ensure that this kind of thing does not happen. Let us go back to getting a national ID. As soon as you are turning 18, you are getting onto the register. As soon as people are dying, that kind of big database is removing people from the register. I think that we ought to go back to basics,
okay,
so that we don't come back to this conversation in 4 years.
All right, yes, quick one.
I'm just surprised at my friend. He said they had two registered. This one had a problem, this one had a problem. They said, let's bring it together. Problem plus problem, does it solve the problem? In Pram, yes, before we had challenges because people didn't have their names on the register. But at the end of the day, we had the elections, which was peaceful. Nobody resigns. The party is united to victory. Well, not where you add problem plus problem, register one problem, then you add it to register two problems, expect that the results should be correct register. We don't have that.
Yeah, but the prom, if you're going to give the prom example, the suspicion was that you were trying to hijack, the party NEC was trying to hijack the register and tilt it in favor of the incumbent MP.
No.
And so,
at the end of the
Sam
day,
George had to be vigilant to win that.
Vigilance wins elections. I just said it here. Vigilance is the key.
But you were trying to collude to steal the elections.
No. You see, just as he had problems, the incumbent MP also had problems. He also had problems. But at the end of the day, it's the vigilance of the candidates that made them to win.
All right.
And that is what I just said.
Okay, we'll have to end it here. I'm afraid our time is up. We have just about to
talk about Green Street being the man.
I know, right? When we have to go. Okay, please. Just one. I know you wanted to leave, right? 10 to 8. I'm afraid. The National Forum. Why? How is? But what impact is Green Street really making on the grass? And what's the impact?
If he wasn't making impact, somebody would put in the newspaper that he's the man and that he's talking to youth and that he's going around.
Everybody is talking to you. To Dr. Parker, is talking to you.
Well, I've been seeing it in the papers. We are talking about what we have seen in the papers. Sure.
Okay.
So please, let us not just put it aside. It's important that we look at it, you know, that Green Street is the man. I think that independent thinking Ghanaians are coming to the realization that the two parties, we've seen what they have to offer, and it's about time that they make a leap of faith with the CPP and give us the opportunity to come. And if we come and we mess up, they kick us out. You know, Ghanaians must come to that point where they want the best for themselves. They don't resign themselves to just these two parties, and they have the audaciousness and make that leap of faith to change their situation.
Okay. All right.
You know, I think that we have come to that point.
Sure.
And we must take the next step. And of course,
where is he going? Where is exactly is he like?
Oh well, he was in Jomoro over the weekend.
Oh, Jomoro.
Yes. So
your former seat, I should.
Yes.
All right then. Quick one. Are you? How has the election of Green Street really sort of gingered or unsettled political parties, main political parties like you?
Honestly, Bridget, CPP coming from Tema East constituency and nationally, I think they are not visible, to speak the truth. And my sister knows what I'm talking about. Even in Tema West, where she is from.
Yeah.
Tema East, we don't even have an office for
Yeah.
the CPP. They used to have some kiosks in front of the
He's lying.
to a new town when you are heading towards the station. They have a small kiosk close to my party office.
He's lying.
Sure.
We can't see it anymore. And now that Green Street has come, he's trying to bring some adrenaline.
Do you see that?
Into the CP? Fair enough. Okay. But I'm saying that in my constituency,
you are not
they are
feeling
not
it.
visible.
All right,
we are
then.
not seeing them.
Okay, all right.
So if he's doing something, he needs to be supported, for him to come up. CPP, we are not seeing them.
All right.
It's now almost like a third force. So they should do something, at least to take some of the NDC votes, so that we can be able to slip through.
Okay, still NDC votes so that the NPP can win the elections, right? Is that what you're saying?
We have supported CP.
Right. Thank you.
Knows.
I have to thank
we
you.
See that,
Our
we see
time
that
is up
our
now.
seat for them, for the Blaze and the Kojuamas and other people.
And he came to die
are winning. Of course, there's nothing wrong.
Thank you. I have to thank you both. I'm sorry, I'm afraid. I want to say a big thank you. Of course, the Member of Parliament for Damongo had to excuse himself because he has other engagements at exactly 8. So we held him here, I think, 10 minutes more than we had agreed. So we hope that he makes it. Also, let me say a big thank you to you. Member of Parliament for Tema East, Daniel Nikwate, Titles Glover. And I'm sorry, I'll make it up to you after we'll talk, right? And also, Madam Susan Edua-Mankwa, pharmacist and also second vice chair of the Convention People's Party. Thank you very much. Always a pleasure having you.